Welcome back in another night of KC Sports tonight, ahead of the Chiefs' maybe biggest game of the entire season. Would you say, Neil?
Yeah, I mean, if they win it, then they have other big games. But if
Yeah.
they lose it, it's like a fork in the road. If you lose it, you probably are going to be playing for a wild card spot and have to go on the road for the entire playoffs. They've done that before, or they've had to go on the road some before. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on Sunday. It'll certainly be a big step in one direction or the other.
Yeah, and it's kind of become this must-win scenario because really, with the Broncos being 8-2 and the Chiefs 5-4, I guess we can't rule it technically impossible that they would win the AFC West because you never know. The Broncos could totally flail from here on out if they beat the Chiefs.
They were like the Chiefs were last year. There have been a
Yeah.
bunch of games. They've had
1,000%.
8 games this season that were decided by one score or less the Broncos have had, and they've won 6 of those 8. So, yeah, if they keep playing close games, they start missing extra points and field goals or getting them blocked like they did last year at Arrowhead, things could turn around very quickly for them.
Yeah, for sure. The Chiefs really kind of a must-win situation for them because they don't want to break that streak. It would be 10 straight AFC West division titles if the Chiefs can win it this year.
Does that mean you were like 7 when they last didn't win it?
No, I was like, first year was 2015.
I didn't take math at OU.
First year was 2015. I was 15.
You were 15?
Yep. It's
You were 15 years old when Patrick Mahomes started starting for the Chiefs.
No, I was 16 because the streak started the year before he was a starter.
That's right.
Yep.
Alex Smith.
Yep.
So you didn't have to live through the Steve Bono issue or the Elvis Gerbach's a nice man.
I don't even
Steve
know these
Bono
names.
had no redeeming qualities as far as I could tell. There's probably people out there that knew him when he lived in Kansas City and they say he's a good guy. I never saw that.
These names are not sparking anything in my brain.
You don't know
right
who
now.
those guys are?
I've maybe heard Steve Bono, but no, not the other
Oh,
guy.
no, it's Bono. You didn't hear that cheer?
Nope. Because the Chiefs weren't nationally relevant when I was a kid.
I was pulling up. Remember I did a story on the fans in the end zone a couple weeks ago, and from that I wanted to show that they've had the same seats since forever. So I went back and found video from 1996 of those fans who were down, they were the parents of kids that are down there now, and they were out there and they were booing Steve Bono. Oh no, it's Bono. That was in 1996. So yeah, I lived through that. It was
Quite an archive you got.
It was not a great era to live through.
No, but we heard from the Chiefs coordinators today, all 3 of them, plus Chris Jones. Really, it just feels like the biggest narrative going into this game is the Broncos' D-line and their defense as a whole, but especially that D-line, leading the league in sacks this season.
Not only that, they've got the highest number of sacks through 10 games since forever. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like been, 30 or 40 years. And they are unbelievably good.
Yeah.
And they are very deep. Patrick Mahomes talked about that yesterday. He said, they got like 5 guys. They just rotate through at the pass rush, outside rushing position. So they are very, very deep. Remember when I told you that we talked about earlier this week, perhaps yesterday, that the Broncos had built their roster to beat the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. And that meant they went out and got a bunch of guys who can run and cover, not big, strong safeties who come downhill and hit you in the mouth. They want guys who can cover, speedy receivers all over the field, and they want pass rush. Those are the 2 things they wanted more than anything on defense, and they've got it.
Yeah, you have to admit it. It's the smartest way to beat the Chiefs is not to get into an offensive shootout with them because you have to believe that Patrick Mahomes is going to come out on top of that. How many times has that happened with the Bills or the Ravens or whoever else? The best way to beat the Chiefs is by stopping Patrick Mahomes through pass rush,
right,
through whatever else. So they've certainly gone about it the right way. But this even more, learning more about the Broncos defensive line and what they bring to the table, more than ever, like the bye week came at the perfect time for the Chiefs. Because imagine if they played this game last week right after playing the Bills, all those injuries to the offensive line.
Yep.
Best case scenario, they had a full week to nurse those guys, and now not a single one of them have been on the injury report.
What are you thinking is going to happen at left tackle?
Well, Matt Nagy did talk about Josh Simmons' first practice back today.
How did he do?
Was yesterday. In my notes, I wrote a little abridged version of what he said, and he said, first day back, thought he did well, but like you said, it's one practice. Going to see where he goes. So kind of similar to what Andy Reid said yesterday, but Andy Reid hadn't seen him practice yet. So now at least he has one under his belt. I have to believe, I think it comes down to what Josh Simmons did physically in this month off. Was he staying in shape? Was he working out? If he hasn't been, he might not be game ready. But if he has been, you have to believe he's the best guy to protect Patrick Mahomes' blindside, because he's proven that in the first month that he was playing.
Well, there's two ways to look at it. I was talking to a former Chiefs player who said, he may be in better shape than everybody else. If he ran, if he did aerobic stuff when he was back home or wherever he was, if he did stuff to keep himself in shape, he's going to have all the bumps and bruises and contusions and swollen ankles and bum hand, or the stuff that you get that doesn't go in the injury report. And you hear it all the time. Players say, after about week 4 or 5, you don't really feel 100%. You've always got something that you don't feel good about, because it's like you're running into people 60 times a game. Mm-hmm. And you're running into them, you're getting hit, and you try to get your pad level good and not absorb everything with your neck and head. You try to get your hands up, and you try not to have your fingers broken. You try to do all that stuff, but you get banged around. His point was, he may come back and he may be a lot better than people think. He may not be ready week 1, but when he is ready to go, he's going to probably be a lot healthier than everybody else on that offensive line who've been banging everybody.
Yeah, and for sure, we saw half the offensive line exit against the Bills. But like I said, it's a really good sign that none of them have been on the injury report since coming off the bye week. I think there was the slight worry of are Trey Smith's back spasms going to linger? What happened to Juwan Taylor with, I believe it was his ankle? Is that going to linger? So that was a positive sign, because they're going to need a really good offensive line to go up against this Broncos D-line.
Yeah, and last year they got after Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes didn't have anywhere near the protection on the offensive front, and he didn't have the receivers that he has right now. He's got a full complement of receivers, and if Josh Simmons is able to play, you have your full offensive line. They may not be the best in the league, but they have been competent. And this is an offense. The Chiefs rank 9th in scoring. And remember, the first 6 weeks, they're playing without Rashee Rice, who's their favorite receiver, right? Mm-hmm. And then they didn't have Xavier Worthy for the first 2 games. So they are a much better offense now, and yet throughout the course of the season, their 9 games, they are 9th in scoring, 26.1 points per game. That's more than the Broncos, who are 17th in scoring. And as great as the Broncos defense is, and they are really, really good, they are 3rd in defense, scoring defense, 17.3. They give up 17.3 points per game with those 46 sacks. Guess what? The Chiefs only have 20 sacks. They don't have anywhere near the pass rush, and yet the Chiefs are 4th in defense, scoring defense. They're right behind them, 17.4. The point is, defensively, it is not head and shoulders different. The Chiefs have been very effective. Why? Steve Spagnuolo and his smart players, and they got guys who know their system, and they play to their system.
Yeah, and that's why I think the Chiefs can win this game, and they should, because I think they have the edge for the reason you were just saying. I think both of these defenses are really good. Maybe the Broncos defense is a little bit better, but I still think the Chiefs defense are right up there with them. And the Chiefs offense has the edge here. Steve Spagnuolo talked a lot about Bo Nix's athleticism today and how that poses an issue. But
it's hard to sack him.
He's an athletic guy for sure, but he's been making some bad decisions this year. And I just feel like the Chiefs defense was kind of just licking their lips, watching that game against the Raiders last week on Thursday Night Football.
Bo Nix, his numbers in no way are as good as Patrick Mahomes is, and that's what you'd expect.
Yeah.
Because he's a second-year player who the league has scouted, because he came on the scene last year as a rookie, and I think surprised everybody, certainly surprised me. Bo Nix, 61% completions versus Patrick Mahomes, 65%. Patrick Mahomes has thrown for over 200 yards more in one fewer game. Now, Mahomes has been sacked more. He's been sacked 17 times. Bo Nix, he's hard to bring down. He's only been sacked 10 times. Touchdowns to interceptions. Mahomes has 17 TDs, 5 interceptions. Bo Nix, 18 and 8. 18 is good. 8 is not good.
No.
When he is under pressure, he gets rid of the football, but sometimes he gets rid of it to the wrong team.
Yeah.
You know,
and
the
that's
Chiefs,
what young quarterbacks do. They make bad decisions.
especially if you get pressure on him. I think that's going to be critical for them is going to be get in his face, make him move his feet. Don't let him get comfortable. If he gets comfortable, it can be ugly. We saw that last year in the game where the starters didn't play. Bo Nix looked as good as he's looked, and they won that game 38-0. You know, the Chiefs were playing all their second stringers that they could. And so I don't want to – I'm just saying if you let this guy have time, he can look pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. And that also brings into the conversation, you know, the Chiefs pass rush. It's been a topic of conversation all season long. It feels like it's been the one big part of their defense that hasn't measured up to what it's been in past years. It hasn't been bad, but it could certainly be a lot better. Chris Jones has been open about it. Other guys have been open about it. Spags. So they know this feels like the game. Like if you're going to bring that pass rush, got to bring it now.
Well, look, they have not got much of a rush out of 4 guys. They have blitzed a lot, and they are really good at it. Steve Spagnuolo draws up these blitzes. They practice it all summer at training camp. They learn them. They refresh during the week. These are the blitzes we think we're gonna call against the Denver offense. This is where we believe they're weak. Their left tackle's great, but their right tackle's not great. Whatever it is they think, and they're gonna bring that. But the problem for everybody that plays the Chiefs, you don't know when they're going to bring it. They fake it, and they're corners. The guys they bring on blitzes, they can tackle. They don't bounce off the quarterback and lay there. They actually go in and get them down, or at least harass them. So, I think it's going to be a great game. I will say that if you told me that the Broncos won by 7 points, I would not be stunned. If you told me the Chiefs won by 7 points, I wouldn't be stunned. I think they're both two really well-coached football teams, but the Chiefs have at the most important position in football, they have a major advantage, and that's at quarterback.
I agree. Are those your keys to victory? What are they officially?
My keys to victory, I think protect Patrick Mahomes is basically what you talked about. They got to protect him. That does not mean that they have to protect and hold for 7 seconds. It means they can't let free rushers come and hit him. They got to protect him because that's exactly what they're going to try to do. Denver is going to try to hit him early and often. That's their game plan to limit the Kansas City Chiefs passing game.
I agree. All right. Any more Chiefs-Broncos thoughts?
I had a chance to talk to Nathan Brennan today, and Nathan said there is no way that you and Mark are going to get better food in Denver than Nathan and I did. Nathan,
are you not going to tell us what you found?
No. You're on one team. I'm on another team. I'm on the A team, and you're on the B team. You and Mark are the B team.
We're a pretty cool B team.
No, they're a lot younger and a lot smarter. I'll tell you that much. But we did great. We had a Sunday night. We had live shots, and then we found a place real late Sunday, and we were able to get a great meal right downtown, not very far from our hotel. It was fabulous.
All right. Well, I might be.
You're going to be at McDonald's.
Nope.
Yep, you're going to be at McDonald's or what is it? Steak and Shake? You're going to be at Steak and Shake.
No, if I'm going anywhere that's like Steak and Shake vibes, I'm going to go at least like Shake Shack. It's better.
I don't think they'll be open when you're trying to look around.
I don't know.
Now, see, Mark's not allowed to stay out late. His wife will get on him, so he's going to have to get back to the hotel because she'll be tracking his phone from Kansas City.
I'll find my own adventures.
Yes.
Me and my rental car. Whee! Okay. So, yeah. Like Neil brought up, Mark Palos and I are going to be in Denver this weekend. We will be live starting in our 6:30 newscast on Saturday. We'll have coverage during 10 o'clock and KC Sports Tonight at 10:30 as well.
By the way, neither of them can find anything without their GPS.
Yes.
Without their phone. If for some reason the cell is down, they will end up in like Greeley, Colorado.
When the spies invade, we are going to be so lost. We're going to end up in Utah. I don't even know. I don't even know.
No. Well, that's halfway to San Francisco. That'd be good. Yeah. We don't normally talk a lot of MLS soccer the week of a huge Chiefs game, but today a story did break.
Yes, that is true. Neil, would you like to take the reins here?
Have you not been?
You're not
anchoring, are you?
No, I haven't read the full press release
This
yet.
afternoon, MLS Soccer announced that their shareholders, which is a nice way of saying the team ownerships, that all the owners of the teams in MLS, they had a meeting. and they discussed something that they have been talking about behind the scenes for, they said 2 years, and that is they are changing the schedule, and they are going to make it more almost what they do over in England with the English Premier League or in Europe with the Euro Leagues. They're going to kick off in spring, like May, and they're going to isn't that right?
No, they're going to kick off in July and wrap in May.
So it's going to go up against football.
Yep.
I was at the press conference at Arrowhead Stadium when Lamar Hunt and some other people announced the formation of Major League Soccer. We had heard they were working on a league. We didn't know the name. We knew some of the markets. We weren't sure. And one of the things he said was, and I remember this vividly, he said, we are not going head-to-head with American football. We're not strong enough yet. But eventually we hope to ramp this league up to where we can play the same schedule as they play around the world so that we're not playing during their off season. And we'd like to get there. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. We'll need to get our stadiums because it's hard to play soccer and football in an NFL stadium. Kind of need to pick one or the other. Mm-hmm. And so he said, we're going to have to find out where that is and how it works. And when it does, we'll do it. And they are doing it. And then they announced it today. I think it's going to be hard because I think it's, as you and I have talked about.
I think it is not an America decision. This sounds like a terrible decision for this country, specifically because football's king.
So when are they going to play on a weekend where there's college games on Saturday, the Chiefs on Sunday, and we'll get used to it. And
dumb.
People who love sporting are going to love sporting. I love sporting. I just don't know that. I mean, what can you do?
I think the best thing that MLS and NWSL teams have going for them right now in America is the fact that they play spring through the early fall. Because, like, I mean, it's fun for us, too. You know, in, like, June, we can just focus on them. Like yep. They're our priority. And that's not just a media thing. That's a fan thing, too. Because, like you said, okay, well, if they play on Saturdays, like, I don't know a lot of people who would take that over their college game.
Well, we had
on Sundays with the Chiefs.
We had a situation last year, not this season, but last year. I think it was week 3 of the college season, and I had been to games on the first 2 weeks. I think that's right. And I was told we really want to cover Team USA. They're the men. They're coming in. They're going to play at Children's Mercy Park. And I go, oh, that'd be great. It'd be fun to talk to their head coach to find out, you know, what he knows about our training area, the training facility that's here that I think is the best in the United States without a doubt. Find out from him, do you think Team USA might headquarter here since they've got this unbelievable practice facility? And, okay, first they fire the coach 2 weeks before they came in or a week before. So the guy who comes in, he doesn't know. He's an interim. And the Team USA was terrible. They got down 2-0. It was like watching the third graders take on the ninth graders. Their third graders aren't going to do very well. And it was 2-0 after like 5 minutes or 6 minutes. And the crowd never got in. And I think the United States scored a goal in the second half when the Canadian team put in every scrub they had. You know, anybody who.
That's the difference between the men's and women's U.S. national teams.
So they scored a goal, but it was never really. And I'm going to tell you, Katie, there was nobody there. There were 6,000 people. I think they announced 6. I'm looking around and I'm like, there were more people at the high school football game I had been at the night before, because I'd been at a big game, than there were at the soccer match. And it's because everybody was playing football. All the schools, they weren't playing at home. One school was. The other ones, they were playing. They were on the road, but they were playing. Mizzou was playing. And so I'm like, yeah, it's hard to compete with American football. Even if the USA women's national team had been there, it would have been a different story. They're rock stars. Mm-hmm. But the men's team, I don't think so. So I think it's going to come down to this. And this is just what I was thinking about this afternoon when I ran over to McDonald's to get my Chiefs cup and my Dr. Pepper, my Diet Dr. Pepper. And that is, they're going to need to win. You know, the Sporting KC is going to need to win. They can't be like they were this year where they just lost everything out of the gate because, in soccer, we'll follow them and we'll go out there, and I love it. The experience out there is unbelievable. But Katie, can you imagine if you're going up against KU, K-State, Missouri football, and the Chiefs, and you get off to a horrible start? I think you fall off the radar for a lot of fans.
They'll eventually, by the time November hits, they'll also be going up against college basketball. And
who cares?
People around here.
I'm being facetious. I agree with you.
But like I said, this feels like a decision that isn't being thought of in conjunction with the fact that people just care more about football than football in America. And
But they got to be doing it for a reason. There have to be a bunch of reasons that they're doing it.
I'm understanding like the whole put it on the international landscape. Like I get it, but it still feels like the wrong decision for American soccer fans who also are fans of other sports. Like
we will see.
I mean, personally, like if I'm in June and I have like a Saturday night off or something, and I'm presented
you're the new person in this department. You're not getting a Saturday night off in June.
We get
you're
PTO
working
sometimes.
All of them.
Us newbies get PTO sometimes. Sometimes. But like if I'm presented with like, oh, there's a sporting game or a KC Current game, absolutely. Like I'd love to go to that, and it doesn't even matter as much if the team is bad because, like you said, the environment there is fun.
It is a blast. Both of those stadiums are a lot of fun.
Yeah, but I don't think it can compete just simply because I think football is just the more popular sport in America, and how many games are going to be in a season versus they only get 6 home games for their college football team. They only get 8 or 9 home games for their NFL team. So they're still just going to lose during that time of the year.
Well, they may shock us.
Yeah.
They may shock us. This thing, they've thought it out. There are a lot of soccer fans in the United States now. And so it'll be interesting.
Wrong.
Let's move on to border war recruiting, basketball recruiting, signing day to day. And I understand that Missouri and Kansas are at it again. They're going to be playing basketball next month at I almost said Sprint Center, at the T-Mobile Center in downtown Kansas City. But they are battling it out for recruits right now.
Yeah, and might I add, they're playing on the same day as a Chiefs home game, so not cool. But we'll let it slide, I suppose, because they're at very different times. But yeah, these are 2 programs that are boasting both top 3 recruiting classes in the class of 2026.
But there's a battle over who's number 1. I love it.
Yep. And the ESPN is ranking Mizzou as number 1. Other sources are ranking KU as number 1. It's a border war in recruiting.
And they both claim they're number 1.
Yep.
I love it. This is good.
Yep. I like it. But yeah, it's especially historic for Mizzou. I mean, KU having the number 1 recruiting class or a top 3 recruiting class, you expect that because they're KU. It's Bill Self and all that fun stuff. Mizzou having it, I think, is a big testament to where that program's going.
All right, let's move on because this last one is juicy. We can't argue the hype. We don't know anything about the recruits. I've heard about the 5-star kid that Kansas got. He's a great guard.
Yeah, which tells us more than anything that Darren Peterson is not going to be at KU longer than a year.
Well, unless he gets hurt. I was like, what if he gets hurt and he redshirts and then you get 2 5-stars?
Even if he gets hurt, he's going to the NBA next year.
Yeah, probably so. Well, everyone knows in the offseason, the NFL Players Association releases grades, a report card on everything about the franchise. The most popular coach to play for, the most hated coach to play for, the best food in the cafeteria at NFL franchises, the worst food, the stinkiest locker room, the best locker room, the best flights, the best training camp experiences. They rank everything, and it always makes it's interesting. I don't know how accurate it is because you got players, if you're going to get fired and you're going to get fired someplace, you're probably going to run it down. And so, or they have a vendetta. Some players have a vendetta against the owner or against the coaching staff or something. But it's always interesting. And now we learn that the NFL has told the Players Association they filed a grievance and they want that stopped. They say it's not good for the game and that it's not that they're partners of this endeavor and they shouldn't be criticizing the franchises they work for.
How would you at home feel if anonymous surveys of your superiors at work went away? Your only chance to air grievances, try to make your workplace better. How would you feel if that went away?
Well, if it means that you're not going to get me fired, I think it's good. But
Nope.
I think
Neil, you're at the top of my report. You're the report. It's just Neil Jones.
Yeah, well, at least I'm upfront about it, right? I think this is I think maybe there's a different way they could release the material, but I think the players have a right to be able to say, yeah, I don't think that they do a very good job. But I do think that sometimes it's BS. I mean, I've heard that from people who now work in the league, who used to be players in the league. They go, yeah, I used to get mad about stuff, so I downgrade the Chiefs. But, they weren't any worse than anybody else.
Yeah, and that's been a point of conversation with the Chiefs in recent years, those report cards, because they haven't always had the best grades for things like facilities or like the lounges or whatever. Well, the Chiefs just got a fancy new lounge in their practice facility this year, so we might see that go up. But it's also things like they get graded on like family experiences.
Yeah.
And I have to believe that with how like big social media is now and how big wags are on social media, the players' wives and girlfriends, they're all over my feed. They post everything about their game day experiences. So I have to believe they're comparing themselves to other teams even more because they're able to see what these other teams get. Amenities wise and family experience wise and all that stuff. So yeah, I think NFL, come on.
I think it'd be nice if the player representative from each franchise would meet with somebody at the franchise. It doesn't have to be the owner or the head coach. The head coach they don't want to worry about this. It doesn't have to be the GM. It could be head of operations or something. And they meet, and the reason we marked you guys down for this is there aren't enough hot tubs or not enough cool tubs. They're not, because you have to wait when players do that.
One good thing though, the Chiefs always seem to get an A+ for their coaching.
Yeah, I think they respect Andy Reid. And I also think that there are too many guys around the league who've had good experiences with the coaching staff. I think that they understand if I start ripping on them, nobody's going to believe it.
Yeah, it is kind of funny when you see teams give bad grades for their coaches though, because then you're kind of like, ooh.
But sometimes the best teachers were the ones who were toughest on you, right?
Yeah.
In school, you look back at the time. I don't want.
But these are also grown men who I feel like know the difference
players.
Between.
They're physically grown.
But they know the difference between like a mean for no reason coach or just a bad coach who doesn't care about you versus one who does care about you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Whatever the Jets are doing. Okay, I'll give you a report card, and it's their one-loss record. That's the most important report card. So we don't know what's going to happen with this. The NFL obviously wants to take this to arbitration or something. They've got some sort of a process that they can put this on. But if they completely quash it, where you don't hear that, it's going to get out on social media. Mm-hmm. They can't stop the players from voting. They'll vote, and then it'll get released on KDMar.com.
Go visit the site, guys. All right. Any final thoughts before we go, Neil?
No, I'm getting I'll start to get nervous on Saturday about this Chiefs game because I do think it's a major fork in the road. If they win this game, they are kind of what we thought they were, a team that's capable of making a good run. If they don't, they're going to be a 5-5 team that had the makings of something special, but for whatever reason, it just didn't come together through the first 10 games. And you have to hope they get their act together towards the end of the season and they can go on the road and beat some people.
Yep. And I'm excited to experience that mile-high altitude for the first time. I'll report back.
Yeah, and be careful. We're trying to find that late-night Waffle House at 3 in the morning.
Waffle Houses are great.
I love Waffle House.
All right. We'll update everybody next week on exactly how the trip went. Okay. Thanks for joining us. Have a good one.